Chantel Roberts, and I'm an expert witness for claims handling standards, practices, and procedures. I was an adjuster for 20 plus years. The Art of Adjusting is a vlog to help professionals and lay people alike understand a bit more about the insurance claims industry. If you're in the insurance industry, you've heard about the numerous lawsuits regarding business income loss in COVID-19. Today, I have Laura M. Gregory, a partner in Sloan & Wash, and I dare say a LinkedIn influencer with hashtag Laura has it covered. Very jealous of that. I want one myself. I want a personal one. So Laura, let me go ahead and get into it. I visited about 3 sites and received 3 different answers regarding how many COVID-19 lawsuits there are. One says 877 since July 13th. Another says 804. I think a third says 4,219. Do we really know how many lawsuits there are based off of like insurance claims?
I don't think we probably are going to ever have an accurate number. I'm guessing where you may have looked for those numbers. Some of them are collecting business interruption cases only. Others are all things related to insurance and COVID, which, you know, as one of my connections on LinkedIn says, everything involves insurance. So
true. So true. Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a hard thing. The other thing is there are federal cases and state cases. Federal cases are pretty easy to get online. You may have to pay a little bit to get them, but state cases vary hugely as to whether there's any access of any kind. So I don't think we're likely going to have an accurate count probably ever, other than a lot.
Well, it was originally looking like insurers could breathe a little easier due to the New York, Michigan, and Washington, D.C. judgments, but a new ruling had recently come down in Missouri. How is that different than some of the other cases?
Well, so each of those primarily have been on motions to dismiss, and the motion to dismiss in Kansas City, Missouri was denied, so the case will continue. And the reason seems to that it differs seems to be that there are allegations in the complaint there that there was COVID on the premises. And rather than just saying they were shut down by a government order, they alleged that there was COVID on the premises. So because of that, the judge said they'd allow discovery to go forward. So now they're going to need to prove that COVID was on the premises at the time that they shut down. I'll be interested to see what happens with it. I suspect we'll see a summary judgment motion after they've done discovery. And then, we'll then get to the merits of the decision that they didn't before. So temporary win for insureds. I don't, stay tuned, I think, on that one.
Well, speaking of winning, we don't have a lot of sports nowadays, and I am actually missing a little baseball, and I am going to miss some basketball because I do like both sports. So let's do a scorecard. What's the scorecard for wins and losses?
Well, so I started doing a scorecard just to kind of keep track of what was happening on the business interruption cases, because in the last about 2 weeks, we've had a number of decisions, and so also always trying to get that hook at the beginning of the LinkedIn post to get people to read the rest of it, and trying to always to make sure that everyone realizes that insurance is not boring.
No, it's not. No.
So I started with the scorecard. I think we're at 4 for the insurance companies and 1 for the insureds on the business interruption motions to dismiss. There are, as we said at the beginning, hundreds, probably over 1,000 at this point of these cases, many of which that have motions to dismiss either already filed or are likely coming. So the score could change drastically at any time.
Right.
And insurance law varies state to state. So we're anticipating that there's going to be differences between the states on how they deal with even the same language. So it, where this goes in any given state, we don't know. And I'm just a spectator watching to see what happens.
Yeah, well, you bring up a good thing with the states being a little different, because there's recently been some news on the multi-district litigation. And this is where there's a nationwide consolidation of the business interruption litigation lawsuits, if I understand that correctly.
Well, they were trying to, yes. And those were only the federal cases.
Right. So both
And
the
I think there were 175 cases that were potentially going to be put together. The panel that was looking, the judges panel that was looking at that decided against the putting them all together, consolidating them into a single multi-district litigation. However, they left open the door for sort of mini MDLs against either individual insurers or possibly in individual jurisdictions. Because insurance law is state by state, even the same exact policy issued by the same company could be handled differently in state A than it would in state B. So it's a hard thing to consolidate. Also, business interruption policies are not standard. So there's a lot of variation in language. Different companies have different coverages that they may issue to different insureds. So even the same company may have 4 or 5 different types of business income forms that they use. So it makes it hard to consolidate them because there are a lot of differences. And of course, the individual claims and alleged losses for each insured are going to be entirely specific to that insured.
Absolutely, yeah. Laura, would you like to plug any of your services really quickly?
Sure, always glad to do that. So I'm an insurance coverage and bad faith attorney based in Boston, Massachusetts. Do work across the country and primarily for insurers, but I do some for insureds as well. All lines of business, both first party, third party. And probably the easiest way to connect with me is on LinkedIn. And if you put in Laura Gregory, you should find me at Sloan and Walsh. Or I think I was going to test it before and I forgot. I think if you type in hashtag Laura has it covered, you'll get to me also.
I'm so jealous of that. I have to get a friend. I read your little inspiring note saying that your friend came up with that, and I need to get me a friend somehow.
So,
I gotta buy
yeah,
a friend something.
And you need something with your French in there too, with your French name and your French language skills. That makes you very unique. Not many of us Americans speak well in any other language other than
That's true. Laura, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. I really do appreciate it.
Excellent. Well, have a good weekend, and I enjoyed it.
Thank you. This week, I've discussed the current litigated status of COVID-19 claims with guest Laura M. Gregory, partner with Sloan and Walsh. It looks like we've got a long way to go before this issue is resolved. Every claim is different, and every insurer has different protocols for handling losses. However, this being the litigated world we're in, see below for some legalese. Few claims go to a jury trial, and picking the expert who has been deposed the most or has gone to trial the most may not be the correct expert. Failing to have a second set of eyes on the claim in order to save on expenses isn't always the best way to resolve a loss. As an expert witness and former claims adjuster, I'm sharing my experience in the art of adjusting. Thank you for listening. I appreciate your time.